Hello and welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining today's session. I'm really excited to share my journey and some learnings with you all today. And I hope today we'll be able to together demystify this ambiguous role called engineering manager. Today's session will be most useful for senior engineers who are in dilemma to make this decision, or if you have recently taken this role and want to grow in it. I'm hoping today together we'll be able to break some of the myths, get clarity into what would it take for you to make this decision, help you find your rationale to make this decision, while I will share my own. And also, towards the end, I'll leave you with some tools that will help you get through this journey. So, let's get on. So, who am I? I am Sonali. I work for Intuit as a group development manager, and I work out of Plano, Texas. Quickly taking you all through my career deciding years, which actually started in my primary school. My parents always told me that I could be whatever I wish to be. And this freedom of becoming anything opens so many avenues in one's life, and it did to me as well. Sharing a small story on that. I loved to travel in bus when I was really young, and also I was always impressed by people in uniforms. So for quite some time in my life, I wanted to be a ticket collector, and the perks were to get to travel in bus and wear a uniform. Today my 11-year-old and 14-year-old kids, they want to be a professional Fortnite player, and apparently such a career exists these days. I'm just wishing secretly on the side that they complete their education before becoming one. Anyways, getting back to me, I very soon in middle school figured out that I was good at maths and science and loved solving problems. I started playing with circuits, helped my dad with some of electric things, broke some things, mostly broke, but decided to pursue engineering during my high school. I loved what I did. So I think the point of sharing the story is that there's no greater pleasure in life than doing something professionally which you love and are passionate about. And I'm really very lucky to have that kind of job where actually I share it as passion as well. So just like everybody in this room, I'm a lot of things. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter. I am deeply involved with women in technology. I lead the Women in Technology Forum at Intuit, and also I co-lead Diversity and Inclusion Forum at Intuit at Plano. And it's extremely important for me to build a team where everybody is included and we have diversity on the forum. But above all, I guess I'm engineer at heart. That is the closest thing that I can identify myself most times. Um, and my journey has been very similar to most of the engineers in this room. I started my career as an engineer, and over the period of time, grew more into engineering from one form of engineer to another, getting strong as an engineer, solving customer pain points by delivering awesome products, building and designing rescalable, reusable softwares, and that's how my first 15, 16 years of career have been just increasing in the scope of engineering and delivering more and more customer value. One thing that speaks to me most is that once an engineer is always an engineer, and that is my engineer's rule, and we'll stick to this rule throughout this presentation, that first and foremost we all are engineer before becoming anybody else in this career. um, so then why is this so important, right? Why is this topic so important? So now that we have established our engineer's rule, let's find out why this topic comes to our life as an engineer. So for me, this question came in 2017. At that time, I was working as an engineer, leading team, spending considerable amount of my time in designing, coding, creating solutions. I was quite doing the same thing in different capacities, as I said, for 15, 16 years. And it was a very logical question, right? Which way I want to go. And there were some options, as we all know, there are some options at this point in our careers. I could be an architect, design, architecture, and not as much code, being an engineer, where my scope was increased, and work together with PMs and other partners to define the product and work through those details, and or be a manager, where it touches almost a lot of people, a product, architecture, and a lot of other things, right? um, and and I absolutely decided to be in the leadership role, to be in the manager's role. And at that time, some of my rationals was that I was really doing what I was doing for a long time, and I wanted to try something different. But at the same time, I was an engineer, and I wanted to stay close to technology. I also wanted to get involved in strategic initiatives, wanted to plan, wanted to sit and create a little bit bigger impact than just an individual contributor. And I chose this new path of manager's role. And at some point in your career, if you have not been offered yet, you will be presented with an opportunity to become a manager. You will be the senior engineer for a particular part of technology. It will be growing to a point where proper team needs to be formed, or your manager will move on, creating a vacancy that you could fill in. Or you will be spearheading a new area of work, and company will want to devote more resources, or you are maybe identified as one of the prospective leader in the managerial path, and you would be opted for this role. But there could be several such reasons that you can actually be offered this role. When presented with this choice, how will you decide? Some engineers, in fact, many of engineers explicitly don't want to be managers, and which is absolutely fine. But others are not. Someone like me, right? Mm, what I have figured over the years is, with my experience, is a good litmus test for this question is to ask yourself that would I like a job where I get to drive technology but don't get to code as much as I do now? And folks, if the answer is resounding no, then maybe don't. And we'll get more clarity into this role going forward in this presentation. But this is a good litmus test. And if you don't want to get away from the everyday coding time, then this role might not be for you. So, however, I told you that I made this deliberate choice to take on this role, there were struggles and surprises that I faced. I have always compared this role to motherhood, exciting but tiring, rewarding but time consuming, and the challenges are always there. It's just that the type of challenge keep changing. But the thing is that even though the challenges are there, you still want to do it again. Let's quickly go over some of the struggles that I went through. Maybe some of you have faced it in your careers as well, and will be able to understand my point of view. So first of all, the first thing that happened to me was fear of missing out. So as I got into this role, the gaps in the skill set were very apparent. The time that I was spending to brush up my other skills like people management and being a team manager came at the cost of honing my own software skills. And being in technology for so long, I knew how fast the technology scene was changing, and I just had this fear that I'm missing out so much, and the world is getting ahead. And so obviously, from spending 5 to 6 hours heads down coding to sometimes little to no coding time was actually extremely overwhelming experience for me. Second thing that I experienced, what I was needed to multitask a lot. Too much started to happen too fast for me. From heads down IC role, my calendar got busier, team needed my time, my deliverable changed. Everything is important, everything is P0. And 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 in my heart, I still wanted to code, right? I wanted to take that time out for coding as well. So I had to multitask, and I used to be this full of fear of dropping balls. And to be really honest, I dropped some big balls and I keep doing that even today. Sometimes I really feel that I should have taken picture of my calendar the week after I took on this role. There was a stark contrast between the two calendars, and that makes your journey a little bit overwhelming as well. next is something that we all know, that mostly in organization these opportunities are offered to one of the most performing engineer, right? Well, engineers are doing good uh, because that's what they were trained for. We were passionate for engineering, and that's why we were good at it. But when we make this shift into this leadership role, there's no formal training that we have ever attained for this, and as a result there is a very big skill set gap, and at times you don't even know what skills to gain to begin with. So that was true for me as well. There were so many suggestions, there were so many pointers from my leaders, but really it was very difficult to fill those gaps in the early years of my this role. And and felt like back to entry level job. I mean, this is true because this came as a promotion for me, and I was a lead engineer. I was actually leading couple teams at that time, and now I find myself in a room full of senior leaders, and I'm the junior most front end engineering manager in the room. So it does overwhelm you, and it actually is a little so this is being the first step in the leadership ladder. There is so much to learn, and you kind of get that first hand experience of, okay, there is so much more to do in the space, and I'm just starting my career in this particular role as my first experience. So that also comes a little surprising in this role, at least for me it did. um, so this next one, I don't know if a lot of people will experience that, but for me it was a little bit new, because there was so much of fluid org that was happening. So many reorgs happened, and maybe as an individual contributor, I was being shielded by all these changes. I never came to know, but now I was the one who was influencing these changes. It just happened that I thought there was just so much changing around me constantly, and also the change management. And like for example, difficult conversations, performance management, these things never become easy. They are always difficult, how many times you do that. So that was one quick difficulty that I actually faced here. And last but not the least, difficulty to measure success. As an engineer, it was very easy for me to measure my success, right? Moving sprint board, meeting a milestone, delivering solutions was some of the personal success measure. The problem was that in this role, I didn't shed the old views of myself, right? I continued to use the same yardstick that was not appropriate anymore, and maybe I just started to see myself at times failure because I was not knowing if I am successful, if this is good enough. So these are some of the early struggles that as I faced, and but basically thing is that I'm still here and I'm doing the same thing, and I love to do what I do. And I think the takeaway for me at least is that if I win a lottery, I'll still do this work. So why do I do this? How did I actually overcome my struggles? I'll quickly go over the pointers that I actually brought in the last slide. I mean, for this one, fear of missing out, just feel empowered. Yes, you will have less to no time to code, but feel empowered to drive technology decisions. I, for myself, made space for technology in my schedule, started to get more involved in architecture, high level design, lot of regular reading on technology trends and blogs, and used my team as resource to learn. One thing that we shouldn't forget is that we got this job because we were one of the best engineers on the team, right? So we are good at it. It's just that we need to be involved at a level that is scalable for us. um, I cannot stress more on this one. Most times my day gets spent that I have never thought it will in the beginning of the day. So it could be completely different from how I have planned it. The day gets more fluid instead of more structured day of an engineer, individual contributor. There are interruptions, crisis, emergencies, scheduled meetings. So just plan your day better, be organized. That's what I do. I got more organized. For a long time in my earlier days, Outlook calendar became my IDE. So I just got more disciplined around how my day looks, how what are the big things that I want to achieve today, and started to work on it. Um, So yes, as I said, this is no surprise. There was lack of formal training. All I can say that what I did was, I just started to build this muscle, right? These were not taught in engineering schools to me, and some of the experience from my lead engineering lead times came handy, but it didn't go very far. So I had to like acquire a full new set of skills, some core leadership competencies. Ask help from your seniors, look at internet for resources. At Intuit we are actually provided tons of training to fill those gaps and just use those resources that have been given to me, and that's what exactly I did. um, so one only thing I would say on this is the leadership is a journey, it's not a destination. Every day I get a chance to touch lives and create impact. So yes, it is going to be entry level job, it would feel like that in the beginning, but then over the period of time, as we get mature in this place, you will see that this is a journey. And and being successful on this journey, we need to just develop the competencies, and you might have to discard some of the skills to gain others, so just be mindful of those things as well. So yes, universal law, change is the only constant thing. Well, this is true, right? Change is going to happen. In my experience, most times it happens for good. It creates more opportunities and delivers better results. So, as a manager, for me, it is very important that I do right change management. I can be a change driver. At times, I'm a change agent when the decisions are coming from top down. But just I just try to play my role with clarity and drive transparency in my team. And it becomes a little bit easier over time. More you do, the more better you get. But but um, but just it is going to be around. However, you don't want it, change is going to be there. Last but not the least, again, measuring success extremely important. And all I can say at this point is it is possible to measure success, and I'm going to go over that in some of the slides later. And so I'm going to leave this right now point to be discussed in like coming slides. So yes, my takeaway from this is there are going to be struggles. Maybe your struggles are going to look a little different from mine, but over the period of time, you will be able to learn from those struggles and apply those learnings in your next work that you're taking over. So so what does it take to be successful in this role? um, in my opinion, there are two aspects of this role: engineering and management. Engineering is the technology, innovation, business, and customers, and the management piece is the people, processes. Obviously the engineering piece comes easier than the management piece, because that's where most of the time we lack skills. But to me, these are the whats, right? This is the what that we need to do, and I break down for my execution the how into three parts: clear vision, high performing teams, and driving winning results. These are the three hows with which I execute my role, and let's take a deeper dive into each and every one of this. So, clear vision. Um, to me, mission drives purpose, and vision extends mission to ideal future state. At Intuit, we have a very clear mission: powering prosperity around the world. And around that, there are visions which actually are presented to the teams, with which we actually get closer to our mission. And I think as engineering manager, we are at a very unique place where we have access to senior leadership and frontline engineers. And this comes with a great responsibility to drive clarity into company's vision and make sure the team understands it. So we are the people who actually can drive the clarity behind why are we doing what we are doing and get team excited about this. um, to me, the most important things to be done to drive clear vision is first have a motivating vision, right? And then drive the sense of purpose towards getting that vision. As I said, being in this unique place, we can actually drive so much clarity into this vision by communicating it clearly to the team and making sure it is permeating to every level. At the same time, be decisive. There will be opportunities at times presented to pivot and be decisive and be courageous to actually pivot and make that clarity, drive that clarity to the team as well. I will quickly walk you through one of my experience from my past. So the first project that actually I took on as initiative um, for my role into this leadership was, we were given with a vision where we were supposed to reduce the run the business cost. And we had this product for accountants, a tax product for accountant, which was getting very monolithic in the front end, and it was getting very difficult to move with speed. Idea was to move slow to move faster. And we had to take on this tech debt technology rewrite project. We were supposed to write the Angular 1.0 code to React. We were also supposed to swap the technology with which we were producing tax forms, which is like 4,000 to 5,000 forms, from an old strategy to a newer strategic technology. Well, this was a tech debt project, right? This is a technology project. It is very easy to establish a vision for an initiative which is maybe customer driven or a customer pain point, because the outcomes are very clear. But when you're talking about a technology product, getting people excited around this can be a challenge, and that's what my first challenge was, to get my team excited about doing this almost a year and a half long project. It didn't take us that long, and why is because we drove a clear vision around this. See, the most difficult part of this process is to keep focus, right? Keep an eye on why we are doing this and what's the pain point that we are trying to solve. What we did is, we as a team came together and we said, okay, what is the customer problem that we are trying to solve, and who are our customers right now with this tech debt project? And we had two customers, internal customers and external customer. Internal customer were our developers, engineers. We were solving to make the development process faster, writing better automated tests, getting rid of buggy and convoluted code, and moving to a technology where we could write faster quality code, so overall improving developer productivity. um, and for external customer, we were giving more performing software, better experiences, and ability to get a newer feature faster, and a quality code. So what the team do was, we came together with our vision. We wrote it, we actually got it printed big and bold, and we put it in our scrum room, right in front and center, right, so that the team can rally around that vision and drive motivation and sense of purpose from it. I just want to leave this slide with one thing that our former CEO Brad Smith says, is that repetition doesn't ruin the prayer. So make sure each and every person on the team understands what they're trying to achieve and why, and what the outcomes are, and how are we going to be measuring it. Extremely important to understand the why behind what. So that's what clear vision is for me. Going forward with the next, how is the building high performing team? So now that you have a clear vision, motivating vision for your team, we need a great team to execute it, right? People are the most important part of this role. At Intuit, people, our employees are our number one stakeholder. They come before customers, and we take great pride in our culture and values. And it really takes a great effort to build a culture where voice of employee is so important. To me, this is twofold. It is achieved by developing people and having a people oriented leadership. Um, so what does developing people means? Our senior VP Mamie Jones says that we hire employees and people show up, right? And people have emotions, they have hopes, dreams, aspirations, pains, struggles, and we expect each and everyone to bring their whole self to work. So it becomes more important to provide them an open, collaborative environment where they can express themselves, have opportunity to grow, and appreciate and feel appreciated, right? So this is how I do it, as a people leader, as as a manager on multiple teams, I try to create an open collaborative environment which is actually value driven. Into it, we have very clear values defined, and we speak in terms of those values, so it becomes very easy for us to communicate with each other, and set right expectation with the team, and give in time relevant feedback. Also coaching, which is different from feedback. Be that mentor for your team, be available to discuss their problems, their pains, and see do they want to go in terms of aspiration. Provide stretch opportunities to teams so that they can excel and grow in the careers that they want to get ahead in. So a second part of this building high performing team to me is actually people oriented leadership. At Intuit, we lead with servant leader mindset, where we lead with listening, empathy, and be aware of the people, situations, and feelings, and committed to their growth. This is all feedback led environment where we take the feedback from the people and actually act on that. Lead with question instead of leading with answers. Lead with questions so that team can be self-reliant and uh, get to grow themselves as well as leaders, right? Some of the tools that we use at Intuit is obviously bi-weekly one-on-ones, team meetings. For feedback, we use a tool called SBI, Situation Behavior Impact, where we are giving in time relevant feedback on a given situation, with what kind of behavior and the impact that you created. Also, we use a framework called Grow. It is about developing people, it is about what kind of growth you want to have for yourself, what is the reality, meaning how far are we, and what options are available, and what is the will to go and act on those. Also, we have AES scores, which is actually industry standard these days, where employees are given surveys every quarter, and the leadership takes it extremely seriously. And though they become the milestone that we achieve in the next quarter, and the gaps that we want to fill in terms of the employee voice. So extremely important. We are as good as these teams are, right? So we have to make sure that the people are given a well trusted environment, and we are able to provide that feedback to them and invest in the growth of these individuals. um, so the third lever of this is driving winning results. So now that we have inspiring vision, people-led collaborative culture, uh, one would think that it is easy to achieve the desired results, but that needs work too. As an engineering manager, I own technology initiative, right? Like technical debt pay down, future scalability or performance work, technical innovation and research or opportunities to make business or engineers more efficient. So there is so much that is on us to drive, along with our partners in the space like product managers and designers and others, right? So to me, it is driving the mindset, driving one company mindset, making partners across team, across business units, so that there are no clones, and we are building scalable and reusable components and softwares. As I said, we are the product, consider ourselves at the product manager for the technology initiatives. So make sure that you have a voice on the table for the technology initiatives. We are the ones that actually lead the flag for the technical and operational excellence. So making sure the tests are in place, all kind of performance tests, end-to-end tests, and coverage, DevOps culture, all good things that we can think of around technical and operational excellence is part of the process. Mm, so to me, because there is no really point of making more and more feature in the product if the technical and operational aspect is not taken care of. So developer productivity is not addressed, so that is the onus is on us as engineering manager. Speed as habit. This is an Intuit value. Not doesn't mean that code faster, but actually have that mindset of moving faster, making decision faster, spending time at right places, having not to have meetings to have meetings, right? So take away that time and spend it at a place where actually is more productive. um, and obviously work with your partners, product partners, marketing partner, to carve out the product and technology roadmap. um, Last but seriously not the least is celebrate, right? Do not forget to celebrate. Be your team's cheerleader. Don't leave any opportunity to celebrate. I have done so many things in this COVID year for celebration online, like magician and escape room. There are so many alternatives actually. And it does frees up engineers from the stress, everyday stress of getting deliverable over deliverable, and it reinforces the meaning behind all that hard work, and it shows appreciation for the achievement. So please make sure that you are celebrating along with your team. There is so more that can be done, but to me, some of these are the most important ones, and actually kind of three legs of this tool, which actually has to get the balance, has to be done efficiently. Well, now that we have looked at what takes to execute this role, let's look at some of the tools that we can use. One of the meme that I came across is, if you are not tired, you are not doing it right, which is around this role. It doesn't have to be this way. One of the question that me and my manager spend time on is to figure out what should I be doing, where is my time spent. As an engineer, this wasn't a concern, right? We were working on a feature or a technical initiative, and the current phase was very clear, either exploration, technical design, estimation, planning. And there were so many software development processes to help us track and metricize the cycle of initial technical work. But jumping into management, there is no process, right? There are no management sticky tracking system, no project managers to help organize our work. So it can seem little chaotic or scary or maybe unspecified. And to actually take control of this random work than normal software development process, we can use some of the techniques here. The first and foremost is the time management. Where is your time being spent, right? Where are you going to spending your time today, tomorrow, week, and month, and prioritizing the p zeros on your list and making sure that you are spending right time at the right places is extremely important. Secondly, tracking things. There's going to be endless list that you need to take care of, so make sure that you have a to-do list and make use of the softwares that actually are around, like Trello and others, to facilitate that particular function. um, One of the things that I wasn't doing as much earlier was to responding on questions and my responsiveness. Since my outcomes are generally relying on other people, velocity and accuracy, the communication is extremely important. So I make sure that my Slack channels are notifying me, make sure my email filters are correctly set, and also my team knows that I'm going to be there and responding right away if they need something. uh, Another aspect of the tool that we can use is prioritization. Like, as a manager, you're going to be bombarded with inputs, requests, questions, distractions, fires to fight. So as part of your job, it is to field all this so it doesn't hit your team and distract them. And at times you can't do it by yourself, so you need to prioritize them, you need to delegate them. So we need to be sure that we are ruthlessly prioritizing for my and my team's workload and time, and at times learn to say no and balance both tech and product prioritization. If you can plan your team's time better, actually it will reflect on your own time and you will be able to manage it better. So these are some of the tools that I think can make can you can arrange your work around, and will be able to execute in a smoother way. So manage your time, track things better. We as engineering manager have a habit of getting monkeys on our back, so make sure those monkeys are addressed in terms of responding and also prioritizing our and our team's work. So another tool I would say to our arsenal is that, goals. Hopefully your company has some methodology for defining and tracking goals. And most of these methodologies look similar. I think what matters is how they are used and that they are treated with significance. If your company doesn't have something like this, I mean, guess what? You can be the one driving strategic initiative to make your company more goal oriented. At Intuit, we use goals as a framework to communicate expectations with each other, and we work in two types of goal: input goals and personal development goal. Input goal are more what, which is business driven. What are we solving to get business from one spot to another? And personal development is how am I going to be doing that in terms of my competencies? In my opinion, the goals have to be quick, meaning to say we do quarterly goals. It is it predictable, and it is more, it's more doable. Also small and focused, meaning that we should not have more than 2 to 3 big things in any cycle, because then we end up compromising some to achieve another. Goals have to be aggressive. Goals shouldn't be easy, right? Easy goals don't build strong and successful organizations. So we should not be able to achieve all 100% of our goals, which means that they are needs to be aggressive. Public, anyone and everyone should be able to look at each other's goal, and that's how at Intuit we operate. We have a tool which we use where we are able to see from our CEOs to anybody's goal and derive from those, and it makes each other accountable as well, and try to understand what other person is achieving and how they're executing. And these are aspirational goal which actually motivate individuals in terms of getting the work done. Last but not least, very critical, that we have to have outcome. All the goals have to be measurable, which could be a technology need or satisfy a business need. It could be how many customers I'm gonna gain by doing this, or how performing my APIs are gonna be after this change. It could be any measurable quantifiable outcome, but that has to be there so that you can definitely say your goal was achieved. So again, goals are extremely important. They are the language of communication that you can use between the team, across the team, and it's easier to find out if you achieved a certain goal or not with these frameworks. One more thing which I did not really focus during this presentation is a very big part of engineering management is hiring. um, as a manager, we are a direct engineer, right? Um, our success is actually more indirect successes, because as the team does good work, they achieve their goals. That's how we become successful. So no matter how brilliant and creative we are, if this team doesn't achieve success, we somehow fail. So it's very important, and in my opinion, it is obligation to our company and ourselves to build the strongest team possible, so that we can optimize the chance of success. So we have to recruit great engineers. I see it twofold. First of all, we have to make sure that the place, your company, is a great place to work. Candidates will be able to consciously or subconsciously detect how happy their interviewers are, right? A mission driven, motivating, high growth environment will permeate through the people that actually are taking interviews. So let's make sure that we are that this place that you are wanting people to come and work is a great place to work. A lot of oftentimes I'm asked this question: what when you get up, what makes you come to work? And it is such an important question. People should feel excited to come to work, and work alongside the rest of the team. In my opinion, this is the best weapon in our arsenal. So let's make sure that we use it wisely. Secondly, identify who we are seeking, right? If you don't know what you're looking for, you are not going to find it. So what are the key technical abilities we are looking for? Past experiences. Spend some time articulating the value attributes that we are looking through in the candidates. And once we have that, an execution on that is going to be way much easier. So in my past experience, recruiting is one of the hardest thing, right? It takes tons of effort. It's more art than science. So let's spend some time on it, and hire right people for our teams, with which we actually spend a bunch of time throughout the day. So yes, this is one more tool in my opinion that can be used to make our life easier and this career and move successful. So, why did I become engineering manager again? As I shared with you in earlier slide, in my initial rationale for making this decision, it has not changed as much since then. Three levers that actually still I am here in this role is technology, my love for people, and the impact that I can create through this role. Um, as an engineer, I liked solving problems, and with time, I wanted to grow to be a leader. So in this role now, I'm close to technology. I can influence technology decision, and to be really honest, technical competent managers will have a superior handle on the work that they are managing, and will therefore be able to make better recommendations, evaluate necessary trade-offs. So yes, keep being the engineer that you are, be close to technology, and keep influencing the technology work that you are doing. Also, talented managers are often better able to garner respects from their teams, so it comes handy in people development also. um, and I have loved the human side of this job. Much of my days go talking to individuals in my one-on-ones, brainstorming meetings. We work side by side. Spending time with people is extremely rewarding, and it comes as perks to me because I have become a people person finally. And impact this far by far is the most satisfying ability to bring change. I can drive bigger initiative and help company get to the mission faster. It actually is something that keeps me going every single day. um, some of the my takeaways from this role are, if you think from to um, ways, I have moved from building great technology to building teams that build great technology. Also, from how can I solve it to how can I support my team solving it. Little bit of perspective change, but yes, end of the day, it's about getting things done through others, getting success through others. um, this is interesting. I Everybody will have and should have their own rationale to get into any role, so I'm not sure what would your rationale be, but I can tell you why should you not become engineering manager. Two things: to further career and for power. The management track, there is a just as rewarding technical individual contributor track as it is to the management track. Like lead engineer, staff engineer, principal engineer, architect, CTOs. There is a whole parallel track that can be equally satisfying and equally rewarding. These roles earn comparable salary and have proportional impact on business, exercise increasing latitude of influence, just like management roles do. So if you are thinking to come to management role for furthering your career, then that might not be the right reason to come. In fact, I would stay away from the companies in which you have to move to management role for growth, right? Secondly, just like this above, other reason for power, no. The higher technical IC role have huge impact, the good kind of power. They propose, innovate, prototype future strategic initiative. They interact with other leaders across business and participate in major decisions. So you have equal amount of ability to impact and influence technology decisions. So if you are passionate about technology, keep in your track, because you can actually create impact through that as well. um, some of the tools, some of the tripod that I actually shared with you will kind of give you an idea of how you can be successful as a good manager. But if you have to just find out, you can find out it from your team's attitude, right? If your team has a positive, inclusive environment, if your team is excited about the company vision and they share that vision with you. And one of the tests that is that if you are dispensable, right? If you can go away for a 3-week vacation, that means that you are growing the people within your team to be the tomorrow's leaders. Your team is growing, you are growing yourself, and there is no us versus them, which means that we are a team. One of the saying that actually has always influenced me is, your title makes you a manager and your people make you a leader. So I try to be a leader which is actually manager part happens with on the side. So finally, are you sure you want to be an engineering manager? All I can say is technical managers are a special breed, requiring both technical savvy and people skills. It's an interesting work. At times, the technical aspect will need more attention, sometimes, it's the people. But today, I believe I can make a bigger impact in the leadership role, just like I was doing it by writing code myself. It does come with surprises where you are driving a car without being in driving seat, achieving results through others. But all I can say is if you decide to walk in this path, be easy on yourself and be willing to discard some skills in exchange to others. Thank you very much, everyone, today for joining me. I'm hoping by after today's presentation, you might have moved a little bit closer to your decision. And if you decide to take this role, all the best to you and see you on the other side. Thank you.